If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Central Valley Talk. My name is Ray Johns. I'm your host. The name of the show is Ray Johns, American Patriot. I want to talk to you about something a little bit different. I know every week we feature an American Patriot, and we're going to talk about that today too, because it's going to be it's kind of a roundabout thing. And I want to talk to you about icons. I want to talk to you about believing in people and having those people not live up to who they say they are. And I want to strike a check mark for women, because I think what happened with Bill Cosby was a travesty to every woman on this planet, and a shame. I mean, this man was a man that we all believed in. He was as much American as Aunt Bee was to the Andy Griffith Show. I mean, Aunt Bee, it didn't matter what color you were. You could be black, you could be Chinese, you could be white. It didn't matter. She was your Aunt Bee, you know. And Bill Cosby, likewise, you know. But he fooled all of us to cover up what he really was, which was a predator. So my thoughts go out to all women, and a victory for you, a good victory for you, and hallelujah. Now, I want to talk about another American Patriot, Enrique Salas. I don't know. I never read the Fresno Bee for good reason, and I'm not going to go into that. But I understand a friend of mine sent me a story about an Enrique Salas. Now, I don't know if you read the story. It was on Monday's paper, and it was about a Marine, a young Marine who went and fought for this country. 4 years in the Marines, graduated from high school, came back, had some trouble with the law because of drugs, and was deported to Mexico. Well, he had just recently received a visa to come back, and he had gotten sick while he was down there. He was in an automobile accident, and he had a heart attack on the way as he was coming back into toward the United States to be treated in a hospital, and he subsequently died. Well, I think that's a tragedy. I think we let that young man down. And you might get online and look up the Fresno Bee and look up that story. It's a very, very good story. It's a story of an American tragedy. I really think it is. And we do have them. They do happen. But I do honestly think there has to be something done by that. I thought that to enlist and fight in the service, you had to be a United States citizen. I didn't know that. Obviously, you do not, because had he have been a United States citizen, he wouldn't have been deported. Now, as I dug further, I found out that I guess he came over here. He was 6 years old and was in Los Angeles. Now, his grandmother is a naturalized citizen, as I understand it. Not naturalized, but a citizen. Anyway, it's an interesting story, and I pick Enrique Salas, an American Patriot. And sitting beside me, my favorite American Patriot.
How are you doing, Ray?
Hey, okay. I knew you'd like that story.
Yes, sir.
I knew you would.
Yeah, I like it very much. That is awesome. It's just a tragedy that
It is.
what ended up happening to him.
Mm-hmm.
But
I figured you probably saw that or glanced over.
no, you know
it.
what? I don't read the Fresno Bee for the same reason you don't.
You doggone right. It's the same.
We won't go into
yeah,
why.
no, we won't. No, we won't. We know what those are, and so does everybody else that knows us.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's a good story in the sense of what he did to contribute, but it's sad that he had to.
Yeah.
You know, that's just one of those things. But we say, well, things happen, and there's a catch-22 and things.
Yeah.
But the way I look at that, though, that's. You can't pass on that. You got to look at it from the standpoint it did affect an individual. It's kind of like somebody telling me that, well, your chances are 1 out of a million that if you take this or do this or whatever, nothing's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if I'm that one?
You sound like my dad. That good old common sense.
Yeah, what if I'm that one? So I don't know. It's that's just part of life, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it.
Unfortunately, that's
we've
true.
all had and seen tragedies like within our family, that things that just should not ever have happened, and they did. And well, like that case right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got it in my family, and everybody does.
I can't help but think that something like that could be cured simply by not allowing people to enter into the service until they become citizens.
Well, that's what I thought it was too. Today I learned something.
I was shocked at that, Gary.
I learn something every
shocked.
day, but today I learned.
And I thought this can't possibly be. But I think they should, take the oath, become a citizen, and then they can, But I'm shocked at that. I think that should be corrected, or something should be done about it.
Yeah, I am shocked. This is. I mean, I'm trying to think right now, and I just assumed everybody in there was an American citizen.
Yeah.
I don't see how in the world. That's the first I've ever heard.
It just seems like it's impossible that could happen to me. Well, anyway,
get it.
Let's see.
But go ahead, Ray.
I forgot what I was going to say now, to be honest. I was thinking about what you said. Yeah, it is. So it is a tragedy for that young man and his family. And he I read the account of the funeral, and it was apparently the whole town turned out,
Yeah.
And how small towns are. I know Chowchillo's like that. I was unfortunately at a funeral a year ago, and it was like the whole town was there, And so.
Well, Ray, we're moving right along with things, although that seems a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as far as us, all of us as citizens, even if you haven't paid much attention, we've all learned a tremendous amount in the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care who you are.
You had to.
Yeah, and a lot of things that we thought are not, and there's a lot of adjustment going on in how we're looking and thinking about things. I guess one of the things this week that kind of stuck out for me anyway, there's several, but this one in particular, because I don't even know what this person was or does. And that's Kanye West.
Oh, okay.
I've never listened to one song he sang or anything.
Neither have I. I'm beyond that generation. But
Right.
No, that's not.
So I decided today to listen to one of his songs.
Is he a rapper?
And I got about a quarter of the way. I said, I've had enough of this.
Okay, I can't.
Well, he's a rapper, so okay. But here's the thing, and that's touches a certain population.
Sure.
And I have no problem with that,
I don't either.
And so anyway, the thing that is really impressive about him, though, is that he made a very simple statement. I mean, it was just like not even a full sentence, but it was so powerful, and it resonated with a lot of people. And the thing that he mentioned was the control of thought. That the left-wing liberals think that they are supposed to control what you think about. Not what you do. I mean, that's enough. I mean, they want to do all that, but on top of that, they want to control your thought. And what he did, he made a statement supporting Trump.
Oh, he's supported him before. He got in a lot of trouble. A lot of black people came out against him because of that.
Well,
those idiots.
What he said is that, which resonated again. I kind of heard something about it before, but right now, is that he mentioned this. What really got people to thinking was he says the left wing thinks that they're supposed to control your thought. Now that, and he didn't. I don't recall whether he meant different between black or white or whatever. I don't think he cared. I think he said it just be a thought, right? Yeah. Well, there's this girl that comes in. Her name is Candace Owens, I think, something like that.
Never heard of it. Okay.
And nobody has. But she came in with the same kind of a thing. And what he did, he supported her. Because she's been threatened in the whole 9 yards because of what she said, I forget, on on what she said. But the whole thing boiled down to that she supports Trump. And so consequently, she received a tremendous amount of wrath over that.
Yeah.
Now, she's not an entertainer or anything. I forget even what she is. But anyway, she's, whatever it is, she was prominent enough that when she said what she said, they came down on her. Okay. Kanye West supported her, came to her defense. That created quite a stir, in terms of people. They've been death threats and the whole night, including her, and she's about as pretty a cute little gal you're ever going to see, And so, what happened though, at the same time, Facebook, which we kind of think free press, free thought, this that, Facebook, you read that did away or
Tell everybody though.
Well, they threw Diamond and Silk off, said they were dangerous. Well, Diamond and Silk, you're not going to throw those two girls very far.
Somebody picked them up in a minute.
In a heartbeat. And so they ended up in Congress, testifying in Congress.
Oh, good grief. This is like a great soap opera. I love it.
And what was interesting, to me, the two or three dummies on that Congress is one of them is that Maxine, Crazy Maxine.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is that Lee.
Well, I knew you were going to, yeah.
And the other one is a guy out of Georgia.
Oh, I know the one you're
talking about. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they are asking these two girls, Diamond and Silk, the most stupidest, absolutely stupidest questions you could imagine. And they were trying to trap those two girls, Diamond and Silk.
Those girls are sharp.
And they were way too sharp. Way. And so as they were trying to trap them, it made them look like the biggest idiots. They could not get their dates straight.
Oh my gosh!
And this guy says, "Well, you were getting paid money, weren't you? You sold stuff by being, And I mean, it had nothing to do with what this was all about. The point is that what these girls were.
They were trying to discredit them. Is what they were trying to do, huh?
Everything in the possible world. Okay. Well, those girls would have none of that. And the way that came out. Because I just thought, well, I wasn't even going to watch it at first because I kind of figured what it was going to be about. But as I watched it, it really made those congressmen look horrible. And it made you wonder, is that the kind of people we elect?
Amazing.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
It's amazing. And these girls were so sharp. One of them, I forget this guy, that guy from Georgia. He says, well, yeah, Diamonds is a girl's best friend. And no, Diamond comes back, and diamonds are hard. That was so cool. But the girls did it. They're doing a lot. Kane's doing a lot. But here's what they're really doing: is they're changing the culture.
I agree to that.
And it's going at a rapid rate.
Oh.
And so, what you're having is people starting to look at it. What we have talked about for over a year. About how, well, in fact, well over a year.
Yeah, we have.
And that is, so many blacks are starting to realize that they have been victims of the Democrat slave plantation, and they are deciding that maybe I'm going to get off of this thing.
And what's good about that? The ones that's realizing it are the ones that aren't necessarily the educated. The educated ones, a lot of them have realized it, But what's good is that the core now is starting to realize it,
Right. And, they're starting to wake up and realize it, and they're saying, and people like Diamond and Silk and that Kanye West and that girl Candace Owens. And I watched the whole interview.
Is she one too? She's a rapper?
No, I don't even know what she is. I think I tell you what I think she is. I think she was going to school, and they had different speeches, and she gave a speech. It happened to be the Black Lives Matter was there, and she put them down like crazy. And after that,
oh wow!
Oh, I mean, she made them look like what they are.
Yeah, good for her.
And so,
what's her name again?
I'm going to say Candace Owens.
Okay.
So what happened though, because of that, everybody started listen to her, what she had to say. And boy, I tell you, she is articulate, sharp, very pretty, and and the way she presents herself, you don't see any hatred, you don't see any anger, you just see her. When you get a chance, Ray, I would suggest you look, and she's a real champion.
Okay.
And she does it in a way. She was on an hour. I saw her on for an entire hour, and she was talking about things but if your mind switches a little bit, you know how that is. I mean, you're looking at it this way, then all these years, says, man, I looked at that way all those years, and all of a sudden now I can't see how I did that. Well, she's right there at the edge.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's right there at the edge. So let's say that you're out there and you haven't really given it a lot of thought, but you have given it some thought because you've been observant, but you're still okay. And all of a sudden she's there and she snaps that, and boom, it just wakes you up. And she has a tremendous influence. So the whole culture thing, and you know, last show I made that statement because I said that it was up to 6.2% blacks voted for. And that might have been just North Carolina, I don't remember. But anyway, voted for Trump. And now it's at 17%.
Yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah.
And now it's over that.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, because it seems like I saw something about 19% a day or two of this week somewhere.
Well, it's not
I glanced through.
Ray, I'm not going to be totally surprised. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm not going to be totally surprised if by November that percentage is somewhere closer to 30 to even 40%. It's not going to take long for somebody to decide.
No.
You know, I was sitting in the coffee shop. This is when Trump was running, and there were these two Democrats all their lives. Saw Trump a couple of times, you know, and just out of the blue, they said, both of them said, you know, let's go down to the county office and I want to switch my
party.
My party.
Yeah.
And they just popped in there, right? Well, you have to think then, what people that are right on that edge, what they're going to switch.
Yeah,
and
there were a lot of them. There were a lot of people. I remember they did a poll, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a ton of people across the country.
Right.
You know, who were on the fence. You know.
I think it's realistically about a 65-35% is what I think.
Do you? That's a lot.
Which is a lot, of course. But I think it's about, there's 35%, they're so totally brainwashed, whatever you want to call it, you're not going to switch them no matter what, you know, unless you torture them, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you can't worry about that, you know, you can only, but over here, think about that, you know, well, just say 60%. That's 6 out of 10 are supporting what's happening in America today. And then, as opposed to 4 out of 10 that oppose what is happening today. And there's 6 that are going to support what's happening. So then you have to get down to back to our old question we like, is what is Trump doing, you know, that you don't want for yourself? And,
great question.
And you you could even say, what is it that you object to what Trump is doing right now in America? I mean, what is it specifically that you object in? I mean, do you object in him doing away with the nuclear threat out of North Korea? You know, I mean, just
something that 4 of his predecessors failed to do.
Well, going clear back to Eisenhower.
Yeah.
And then you have to ask, well, do you have an objection against the fact that people now that are earning an income can keep more of their money? I mean, you just go little things like that. Okay, what is it about Trump wanting to build a wall that makes America less safe than what it was before he built the wall?
He's doing all those things. That's a great approach, Gary.
You know, you just go item by item. Yeah. Well, I don't think, you know, maybe people, I don't like the way he's for guns. Well, how long has the Second Amendment been there? And there would be no First Amendment without the Second Amendment.
That's right. That's another good statement. Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, if you just get down to the practicality of it, and yes, there's going to be some things that's just like it is with everybody. Isn't there some things your husband does that you don't necessarily agree with or like? And I'm sure there's things you do that he doesn't necessarily agree with or like. But that has nothing to do with the fact that you have a stable marriage. Okay. Now, is there going to be some things that Trump does or says or so forth, the way he does this or that you don't like? Of course. But what does that have to do with anything? It's just like your child. Your child, I mean, there's a reason why you spank them. It's not because you hate them. Because they did something you didn't like. You know? And so people have to be a little bit more grown up about it. And I'll tell you what, you go try to find, there's 35%, I don't care what how the thing comes out, but you go try to, in that 35% of liberals, left wing, you go try to find common sense anywhere laying around. It's not.
I like the way you put that. It's not even laying around.
It's not even laying around.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You know, I mean, some of the stuff they say, and there's congressmen, you know, let's face it.
I know. I'm taking, a lot of times I'm sitting there listening, I'm thinking, I can't believe that or I'll say if I'm with anybody else, did he say that?
And Pelosi's saying she wants to
there's
raise
another
taxes.
one. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, but here's how what they're aiming for. They're aiming to be able to go to every mother that is the poverty and give them $1,000. They're going to buy that vote.
Can you believe that?
I mean, that's so much as.
But we can believe it. So you think this is the first time this happened?
Yeah, this is buying the vote. What
hey,
that cell phone was.
Yeah,
that cell phone was a vote. That's how they buy the vote.
This is not their first rodeo.
Not their first rodeo. And of course, you know, that's pretty attractive. And in order to do that, we have to raise the taxes. So all these are going to vote for raising the taxes is their idea. They're not going to get by with it. People are getting smarter. Well, they're getting so smart. If they were not getting so smart, then you'd have CNN, MSN, and their ratings going up, not down.
Absolutely.
That means
absolutely.
All it means when the ratings go down is that there's a certain segment of people that gave up on it. They don't watch anymore. Okay, did I at one time read the Fresno Bee? Of course I did.
Yeah.
Do I read it today? No. Am I the only one? Obviously now there's
Look
two
at the
of
two
us.
of us. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And with me, it has been 10 years.
Yeah, well, mate, God, I go back at least that far.
Yeah.
But the only thing that we have to concern ourselves, and 90% of the media is going to be anti-Trump.
Oh, I know that.
So you got to keep in mind that not only you but everybody else are being totally propagandized every single day. And if you have your radio on or your TV on,
just pick up your iPhone and look at the and hit news and see article after article after article.
Right.
All anti-Trump.
Right.
All of it.
Well, 90%. So I guess.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, people, I think, more and more people are becoming immune to that. And at one time, maybe that statement was this, but after you've been told enough times that that's fake news, after a while you say, hey, I can't believe the thing they say.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it works against them is what I'm getting at.
And I think we're starting to see the effect of that.
We're seeing that. I talk to people that, you know, just casually people that, you know, they don't even, I don't watch the news there anymore. I used to do that or something like that. You know, there's more and more people like that.
Oh, I was.
Well, look at the size of the Fresno Bee. It's the size of my little hometown paper in Leemore at one time.
I know it. And every day, I mean, it's a few pages at that, you know.
So
I've seen it.
There's a big change, and I think that the biggest thing right now that has to be done, and I don't know how it's going to come out yet. I'm hoping it comes out where we end up with a one-law government. Because, Ray, it's just so obvious. I don't care what you are, if you're breathing, whether you're liberal or not, it's so obvious that there's one side that doesn't have to go to jail and the other side goes to jail for doing the exact same thing and less.
Yeah.
And American people don't like that. I want to feel like that when I go before the judge that I'm going to be treated just like this next guy is, and not the other way around, like we're seeing now.
Regardless of your profit and loss statement, right?
It have nothing to do whether I'm a politician or not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that's scary, though. It's in huge numbers, But what's scary is that we have had a coup to take over the United States dating back a long time to build up, but the big step in that was Obama. That brought everything up at that time to where we're now almost ready that the entire United States government becomes a communist style government or socialist government. That to me that's the same, but anyways.
That's what you're telling me is that's what Hillary was going to continue with.
So
right?
then it was all programmed.
Yeah.
We only need one more step.
Yeah.
And that was Hillary.
Yeah.
Okay, then you have to ask yourself, where would we be today if
gosh.
Hillary had been elected? Would there still be ISIS?
Of course there would.
Would there still be nuclear bomb missiles going off in North Korea?
Absolutely.
You see? Okay, would the people taxes be going down or would they be going up if they were Hillary?
Oh, are you kidding? They'd be off the chart if it was Hillary.
That's right. Right. Would the number of people on welfare increase or decrease?
No, they would increase by the numbers.
Right. Would the amount of unemployment increase or decrease?
Increase.
So when you go down there, with the amount of migration coming across the borders,
Oh gosh.
what would you have with this? You'd have them coming in here by the millions.
That would do one. I mean, that would collapse this economy.
Well, would the streets of Fresno be as safe as they are today?
They're not too doggone safe now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so would the economy, would the stock market be where it is today? Which means would your retirement be what it is today? You see. But I told you about election night. I'm on my computer because I follow that, and I'm telling you, I could tell every time Hillary won a state and when Trump won. When Hillary won, down it went, and when Trump won, up it went. You know that the market did not have what I call a significant correction from the day November 8th. From the next day until that's 16, okay, until February 2nd, to be exact. Not that you have to be exact, but I mean to be exact. When it finally got a signal to get out of the stock market, it hasn't been back above that since. But the point is, look how long a run that was.
Oh yeah.
You know, and without a correction, it's almost unheard of. Okay, now we're at a point where it's top out. Well, I mean, come on, there's a limit, right? You know, and so anyway, it seems to be just in what they call a trading range. You know, it goes down a bunch and then it goes back up a bunch and just there. Okay, what would now cause that stock market to tumble to the point to where I'm going back to what using Hillary as where would it be? I don't know. I think the market would probably be around 6,000 or 8,000 right now, according to what I've got there. Okay, now, but let's just say it's right where it is. Okay, and then just look at the people's retirement.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and then figure what the companies that are now coming in and look what the dividends are going to be, look what the profits going to be, and so forth. And it's pretty healthy, you know. And there's no other explanation other than Donald Trump for something like that.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
There's no other.
And you can see it in everything. It's my own personal business. I can definitely see it. I mean, I have never been so busy. You know.
Well, and then people sense that, people see that, and I don't care how anti-Trump you are. There's a point to where you just have to say, "Man, I'm tired of being stupid. I'm gonna have to wake up." I mean, I'm tired of telling people, "Oh, I don't like the way he said this." I'm like, because that doesn't mean a thing.
It sure doesn't.
You know, it means your freedom means a lot. The fact that you're prosperous and the fact that you're growing along with everyone else and enjoying your life more because you have more opportunity and more hope.
This is a ride, ladies and gentlemen. It's only going to get better.
It's a historic ride.
Yeah, it is, and we're all a part of it. You can just feel it everywhere you go. I talk to other business people all week. I mean, everybody is excited about where we're going with this country.
Yeah, and we haven't even really got started yet.
No, we have not gotten started yet.
That's kind of scary.
Speaking of which, Gary, I'm going to have to take a break here.
Okay.
We're going to be back, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back and say 2 and 2.
And I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Okay, I'm back, and I'm back with Gary, and we're talking about just about everything. Aren't we, Gary? That's it. Like we always do, and usually when Gary's on, it flies by. I mean, I can't believe half the show's over already. That's generally the way it goes with him because he makes things so interesting. Go ahead, Gary. I know you had some things to say.
Well, I mean, that was just what you told me during the break about your how you had three of you,
Yeah,
3 friends, and then you 4 friends, and how you were the only conservative of the bunch at that time, and how slow. And these are all educated, very smart people, and how you've noticed how they've changed in just the last year alone.
and other people too.
Yeah, I understand that.
But yeah, a lot of people, and that I know. I had a guy. I don't remember him. You meet so many people, and with this, there's so many. But he came up to me at GB3, and he said, we talked about 2 years ago, And he said for a long time, and I said where? And he said Barnes and Noble, and I said okay, I go there a lot, so I'm sure that's true, but I didn't remember him. And he says I thought about what you said. He says and you're right. And I said well, thank you.
Oh man, it's wonderful because I remember you and I sit in the car one time right at the beginning, and we said, Ray, if we could just influence one person, imagine how powerful that would be.
That's right. We did. I remember that.
Because I'm thinking, well, if Ray and I influence one, and they're all over America, there's 2 people influencing one. It doesn't take,
Yeah.
You don't need but one.
That's all you need.
And so, and they in turn influence somebody else, right? I think a lot of it maybe has to do with some people. I'm not going to say yes to all of them, of course, but I think a lot of it has to do. Let's say I've been a diehard liberal all this time, or Democrat, and maybe I'm kind of lazy about it, and I just don't bother to look into all this that much.
Yeah.
And now I'm not really I am a diehard, but after a while, then I kind of catching. I'm not even in the news all that much. I'm just kind of catching, and I'm seeing what's happening with Trump and stuff. It seems like everything he touches, I see the ISIS gone. I see these people. This guy. Stop throwing nukes up in the air. I mean, I don't have to be too observant to figure that out, right? And then I start seeing this trade now, we're changing the imbalance of that, where it's not going for the American's pocketbook, it's coming back into the American pocketbook. I mean, isn't there a point where I kind of sit down and say, you know what, I'm just sick and tired of being stupid.
Yeah.
And that's what I really am. If I keep going supporting what has been stupidity, isn't there a point where I sit there and say, I'm just. I mean,
it's right here in front. It's right here in front of my face. I've got to.
Right.
And I think you're right, and I think there's a lot of people that are doing that.
I think there's a lot of people that are doing that.
I think that's why you're seeing the turn in like, for instance, the one that we talked about at the beginning of the show, where the significant increase in the amount of blacks who would now vote for Trump as opposed to at the time of the election.
Right. And I think that's a tremendous litmus test. I'll tell you what, this last week alone was powerful because of 4 people. I tell you that I didn't know him from 10 cents. I mean, Kanye West. I guess I knew he was married to that Kardashian or whatever.
Yeah, and he's I didn't know what kind of, like you said, he's a rapper.
I didn't even know he was a rapper. I didn't know what he was.
Yeah.
Okay, he might have been driving a truck down there for all I know. But anyway, or taxi there.
He's pretty sharp young man.
Well, and then I listened to his music. I'm not a rap guy, but I listened to him, and it was entertaining.
Well, I'll have to, now that you did that, I'll have to. We're not going to be out there. We're not going to be out there lip singing this.
No, you won't. But I'll tell you, it was. But the way he put it, and the use of his words, and how little of words he actually used, and then but you are going to want to see this Candace Owens, I think her name is.
All right.
Man, she's incredible, and there's nothing about her. I mean, she's beautiful, she's articulate, she's smart, and she's got a tremendous rapport about her. And she's not a hateful. She's not none of this.
Yeah.
She just, I mean, that's a perfect woman as far as I know. But anyway, those three people, and then the Diamond and Silk this week coming that, and the way they conducted themselves in front of Congress was absolutely outstanding. I don't see how nobody else could have got by with the way they did.
Yeah.
And it was something, I don't care what you
Oh,
are.
I wish I'd seen it.
Well, you're going to be proud of it. You can go to your, go on YouTube and Diamond Silk
Okay, I'm going to do that.
congressional hearing. And you listen to that. I tell you, it's
Okay.
it's pretty awesome, these girls. And I knew they were sharp, but I didn't think they were that sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really right on it. And boy, I mean, they were right on the game. So, but here's the thing. Let's say that you're out there and you happen to be seeing that, and you happen to be a person that maybe in the past, and you still are, a supporter of Democrat, and you're a black person supporter of Democrat. I'm telling you what, after this week, if you aren't thinking a little bit about what these people are saying, who happen to be the same color as me, and saying what they're saying, and if that isn't making sense by a bunch, then you're brain dead. Now, whether you change party or you change this and that, I don't know. Now, if you are involved in the deep state government corruption as a bureaucrat, maybe you're working as a bureaucrat, or you're in the government as a, bureaucrat, well, that has no color line.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of whites and other.
Yeah, well, I know that. Yeah.
That are in there and that are crooked,
Yeah.
okay? And they're going to support that as much as they can. Congress, there's very few congressmen that are not bought out and owned by somebody else. Not the voters, but I mean somebody else.
Well, absolutely.
Now, what you will notice with that, Ray, is the number of congressmen that are not coming back.
Yeah, we talked about that last week,
That's
I
right.
think. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you look at the number of Republicans that are not coming back. And there's a reason why they're not coming back. It's because the ownership is changing. The ownership is changing now where they're going to have to answer to the voter because the voter is smarter now. And not only that, they're probably looking at a future, perhaps, indictment or something.
Yeah.
I'm serious. They're
know.
looking at defending themselves.
Yeah.
Because they may be going before the court of law.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody seems to be hanging right now. Okay. And everybody's very impatient about it, including me and you. And we get on sessions about that, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot more to it. I don't know all of it, of course, but there's this game being played in the sense that Trump is pretty much in control of this, and he knows the attention span of the public, and he really doesn't want to see the part where he gets into where that's in the front news every night until ideally would be September, October.
Oh, yeah. Just prior to.
Right.
His timing is unbelievable.
Yeah, he sits there. Basically, what he's saying, look, I got nothing to worry about, but I would like to take this a little bit longer.
He's a timing genius.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
His timing is.
Well, look at his timing with Korea. Look what he did with
There's a perfect
China.
example.
Okay, like China is an example. The reason Korea is doing what they're doing right now is because of China. And China and why is China doing what they're doing? Is because of Trump with the sanctions and the economics.
They can't afford not to.
They can't afford not to. So then, if Trump is
Exactly.
pulling all the strings on that whole thing, including Japan. You see.
Oh yeah.
So they put this. There's never been a country in the history that I'm aware of, anyway, at least modern history, with the kind of severe sanctions that have been placed on North Korea. I mean, it's just extremely severe, and none of it was possible. In other words, Trump couldn't pull this off without China.
Yeah.
And China had to do what Trump suggested because it affected them, and they're on the brink.
Oh yeah.
You see, now Trump's next goal, assuming that this North Korea thing is solved, and it looks like it's going to be one way, right?
Oh yeah, it'll be solved.
And like Trump keeps saying, he says, I don't know, I don't know. I says, I'm going to go in there. I may have to walk out right in the middle of it, but I'll respectfully, I will, So they don't know.
Yeah.
Because he will.
Yeah. Yes, he will.
You know, he had no problem with that.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see. The next one he's after, which is a big deal for us, is Iran. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I want to see that one.
Well, he solves Korea, let's say, and then he goes and solves Iran. Mm-hmm. Well, there's nothing left, is there?
No.
So now what happens is people, well, they're going to have disagreements and all that's going to go with human nature.
He's going to bring peace to the Middle East.
But he's going to bring peace to the Middle East. And let's put it this way, more peaceful than it has been.
Yeah.
And listen to this, $7 trillion later that we spent over there for what? People don't understand that. I mean, they have to look at that, don't they?
Yeah.
And go back, not just the Democrat president, but Republican president.
Absolutely.
And go back to George Bush Sr., back to that time when we did get involved in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And think of the $7 trillion that was spent there for what? What if that $7 trillion, we're talking about trillion here, what if that $7 trillion had been spent in the United States?
Oh, my goodness, it could have gone to a lot of great causes.
Oh, my God, can you imagine our highways would be like today? Alone, just that.
Yeah.
You know, and then
into education would have been some of it, you know.
Well, I would have to hope that education would have been education and not indoctrination, which it has.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if you look at the education, and I was curious as to when the Department of Education, wasn't it 1974 during Carter when they started the Department of Education?
I think it was.
And it's huge today.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a huge industry. Yeah. And man, what a scam that thing is. What a sham. I mean, I read the other day where the kids graduating from college today, the kids knew how to read, arithmetic, do those kind of things at that time and write better out of high school at the time going back when you graduated high school than the college kids do today.
Oh my gosh, I've heard something to that effect.
You know,
yeah.
We talked about this, and look at sports with the youth when they started with this participation trophy.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, now you played sports. I mean, wouldn't that be? Let's say that you didn't make the first team, you made the second team, and you're sitting on the bench most of the time. But at the end of the season, you get a trophy just like the guy that got 14 home runs or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't feel good about yourself, would you?
And the guy that got the 14 home runs, he really wouldn't feel good about it.
He said, what the heck, I get.
Yeah.
Okay, think what we're doing. We're putting out.
That's sad to me.
You know what? We talk about a bachelor's degree in science, bachelor's science degree, and so all these different degrees, bachelor of arts and so forth. Isn't that become that if you just attend college, you get a participation trophy and that's your degree?
It's beginning to sound that way, the way you put it.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you're coming out of there and you're reading at a 9th grade level, which is what's happening, and you spent 4 years in college, 5 years in college, and you borrowed money to do it so that you can get a job. You know that 1/3 of the jobs that are people coming out of college, 1/3 of those jobs did not ever require a college degree, even though they have one. They're driving taxis, they're mowing lawns. You know, they're doing
because there are no jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
1/3.
Unbelievable.
Okay, and a lot of those jobs that are now requiring that's part of the scam, a college degree. Back when the same job did not require a college degree. So if I sit there and if I'm able to make that job require a college degree, then it forces you to do what? It forces you to go to college.
Sure.
To do a job that your dad did, the same exact job as your dad, only when he started it, he didn't require a college. In fact, it didn't even require a high school degree.
Yeah.
But he learned the job.
Sure.
And so now all of a sudden, here we are, we run the clock forward, and now you want the same job your dad had, but you have to go to college to do it.
Good, yeah.
So that
and
forces,
I've heard that.
Okay, you've heard that, right? So it forces you into something that is ridiculous. So I'm thinking this is going to change a little bit. This is starting to change. People are starting to wake up. People are starting to realize this. Because I've told you, and I love telling that story about that Harvard master's degree graduate telling me that college is a scam.
Yeah.
Now, and boy, I was surprised to hear that. You know.
Something you knew all along.
Well, there's things that and it's always been that way. There's things that college is a huge benefit, and it's a benefit for you to go. Okay, but we're going back in the old days.
Yeah.
And so, not everybody is college qualified, right? Or should go to college, or even care to go to college.
Yeah.
Well, then why put a burden on them, or why put a yoke on them that they really do not need to have?
I agree with you, buddy.
And they can, and in fact, it's kind of amazing because even to this day, think about this, even to this day, the amount of people who graduate a high school only or didn't get a college degree, they might have gone 2 years, 1 year, whatever. How many of these people are self-made, are making $1 million today? And it's interesting because the high school in the graduates making $1 million, becoming new millionaires, and the college making and becoming new millionaires, it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
About. You see what I mean? So, I go to college so I can be a millionaire. Well, why don't you just start 4 years sooner and get one 4 years quicker, and be one 4 years longer?
Yeah. I love your philosophy.
You know. So I think that that people are starting to wake up. I know I am. I know There's things that I'm thinking about today that before Trump,
Me too.
Yeah.
And I don't know which way you're thinking. With me, it's considering other possibilities all the time.
all the time.
All the time.
Yep.
Is the best way I can put it. Yeah.
And then it has to get down to values where people start appreciating the old values. You know what? Let's say I'm a kid in grammar school and I'm thinking about it. I start looking around. I used to like to see that American flag in that corner. Remember how it would stick up there and it'd be there, and you kind of think about it. You know?
Oh yeah, me too.
And there's people that like to see that. You know, and it's just like religion is. I'm not all that religious in the sense of a formal religion, but I kind of like seeing "In God We Trust."
Yeah, me too. I'm on this. We're on the same page, Gary. I would like to see more appreciation for this country.
Yeah, and
from a lot of people. I'd like to see more flags flying outside houses, not just on the 4th of July and Flag Day, but all the time. After 9/11, you could hardly go down the street and find a house that didn't have a flag on it.
Right.
I'd like to get back to that. I'd like to get back to a lot more patriotism.
Well, it is coming. It is.
It is starting. You're starting to see it. You are.
But we got to get out of this mode to where you no longer are asked the question, Ray, why do you wear that shirt? It's got to get back to, man, look at Ray, but he's got one of those shirts. Mm-hmm. Because then pretty soon it means, has a different meaning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Has a meaning of freedom and so forth. And I always think that people just have to think a little more, I don't know how you put it, but it's a lot of the liberals that are speaking out that we listen to, that go around all this stuff. When you listen to them, don't you immediately see hate coming out and meanness coming out and evil coming out and hypocrisy?
That's it right there.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then you start thinking, what is it that gives those people? What do they want? I mean, what is it you want? Well, I think this. No, you're saying that. You say, well, I think people should have the right to. I think people should have the right to come in. I think people. Wait a minute. I didn't say that, did I? I said, what do you want? Mm-hmm. Think for yourself and tell me what you want.
Absolutely.
Instead of using the word people, use me.
Yeah.
And see how much that changes. Mm-hmm. Because,
good point, though, Gary.
Because
very good point.
Why is it? Well, I think people should come in here and enjoy the fruit. Well, then why is it you do not think that for yourself? That you should enjoy the safety and the opportunity, just like those people are looking for. Why do you not see it for yourself? Why do you think that they are victims before they get here?
Yeah.
They're not victims. They're having an opportunity.
Absolutely, it is.
That's what the deal is. You make a victim before they even.
And that happens all the time.
Cross the road.
Yeah.
You see, because you made a victim of yourself.
Sure.
But Do I see you as a victim? Yeah, I see you a victim of your own thinking.
Sure. Exactly.
That's a victim.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Yep.
And so that's why, well, what you're saying is you're seeing it too. You're seeing the change, you know. I tell you what I see in the change also with some people, buddies that or not buddy, but, you know, friends I see at the coffee shop or something, who are liberal Democrats. At first they would talk about it. Now they don't even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a change, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Because they for whatever reason, but I think the reason is, God, I'm tired of sounding so stupid.
You wouldn't believe how many people have come up to me. I mean, I'll bet you 40 at different times has come up to me. Sometimes Sandra was with me, and they'd say, man, I'd be so afraid to wear that shirt. And I said, why? I mean, you know, there's just, I mean, you know, they believe in it, but they don't want to wear it.
I give you all the credit in the world with that. And I think that is, there's going to be, well, I've noticed it, like I said, when I first went to the coffee shop with the Trump hat.
Yeah.
Now they all wanted hats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can you get me one of those hats?
See?
You know? So that's a change you're not going to turn back, because here's the thing.
It's only going to grow.
It's going to grow because at some point you do start seeing the common sense in it. Mm-hmm. You start seeing the results of that.
Yeah.
You start seeing the results in your paycheck.
Yeah.
You start seeing the results in your neighbor's.
That's what they're starting. Yeah. You do.
You do. You know, and then
there's an overall. I don't even know how to describe it. There's an overall mood of the country. You can feel it everywhere you go. You're in Walmart. You know.
Right.
You're in Whole Foods. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can feel that mood of the country, and it's like a forward movement. It's in the air.
And it's a simple thing. And I don't know. Trump caught all of that right off the beginning. It is so simple. When he said, "I have no reason in the world to be running for president. I get nothing out of it." He says, except that I feel like I owe the American people this, and I feel like I have the capability to do what? To make America great again. Okay, now how do I do that? I make American people first, and I make America first, because there is no second for him.
No second.
Obviously, because he's
okay.
Now, if you look at the net worth of Bill and Hillary when they came in, 500,000, 140 million when they left. They're supposed to be serving the American people. Okay. Jefferson went broke serving the American people, as you pointed out before.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now let's look at Obama. He comes in supposedly worth $4 million, 40 million when he leaves.
Sure.
Look at Trump. He comes in worth $4.5 billion. They estimate his worth now $3.5 billion. How come his didn't go up?
Yeah,
his went down.
Yeah.
And so he's sacrificing.
See?
For who?
The American people. In this
country.
What
else? Why else is? What else is there?
Well, Gary, it's once again, I can't believe it. We've ran out of time again, and I'm going to ask Gary if he'll come back next week, because we love having him come back.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a guy back that has. He came to this country. He's from New Zealand.
Okay.
And he came to this country, and when he got here, he had $112 in his pocket. And now he has one of the most successful crop dusting businesses in the West Side, and he does a multi-million-dollar business.
Oh my gosh! See if we can get him, Gary.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get him.
Good. That'd be. Oh, I look forward to that. That'd be fun.
Can you imagine? He says, "This is kind of modern time." I understand because my grandfather came. He didn't have. I don't know if he had.
That's when I loved. Yeah. I fell in love with flying. Was when I used to lay out in the alfalfa fields. They didn't spray over me. They were spraying down there, and watch the crop dusters. I wanted to do that so bad. You know?
That's a tough business.
Oh gosh,
there's nothing tougher than that. I don't know of a crop duster yet.
Yeah.
That hasn't crashed it several times.
I know it. But they're always.
He come over here, and when he finally got, because he brought an airplane. That's a story. I'm not going to try to tell it. But imagine that he comes over from New Zealand. This is not that long ago. We're not talking about with the Mayflower. We're talking about right now.
Yeah.
$112 a pocket's got a multi-million-dollar business every year. That
we'll try to get him here next week.
I will.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said every week, and we were running out of time here, please, when you see a policeman, go up, shake his hand, acknowledge how much we appreciate what they do, because we do, and tell them that we appreciate them. They'll appreciate it, and so will you, believe me. So until we meet next week, joyously next Friday at 3 o'clock, heaven's blessings.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say